Hi, this is Dave Weiss with Wipeout Enterprises. Welcome back to our series on the front end of the motor and us sharing our recipe on how to make this reliable. And that's the reason behind the cooking apron is for our recipe. Um, so we're going to talk about the oil system a little bit and the factory oil system and things that you can do to make the factory oil system better. So the first one, and I highly recommend this, I feel this is a must, is going to the wide oil pump, which is an inch and a quarter OEM oil pump. Not all motors had it. The non-turbo motors had a 7/8, and then there's an inch and there's an inch and a quarter. So I would highly recommend to do that. It'll bolt right on your egg front cover or some of the truck covers if you're running the truck cover. But this is a bolt-on part, and it's a high-volume oil pump. The second thing I would highly recommend you do is go to a high pressure relief valve spring. Um, and here's your factory relief valve. You just take the snap ring out and change the spring out. And that gives you a little bit higher oil pressure. The other thing is a restrictor rod. And that actually goes in the back of the motor on a high RPM. So if you're running open RPM, the oil pump puts out more oil as the RPM goes up, and it pumps more oil to the top end of the motor. And you'll see guys out there where they're pushing oil out the breather. Well, that's because they're getting too much oil to the top of the motor. So we put this restrictor rod in to restrict how much oil we get to the top end of the motor. And I would highly recommend that. And then the last thing we have is our oil cooler eliminator. And it eliminates the oil cooler on this side of the motor. Biggest reason I would like to see the oil cooler eliminated, because even factory motors, oil coolers will leak, and they'll leak water into the oil or vice versa, and it's just a possible failure. So we supply all the parts that you need to eliminate the oil cooler: the hose, the blocks, the plate, the bolts, the frost plugs that plug off the front cover. Um, and we'll get more into the oil system on some of the external bolt-on stuff in a video in the future. But these are kind of the highlights of what I wanted to talk about. Just some simple parts that I would highly recommend be changed when you're starting anything with like a 625 rotary pump on up. Appreciate you watching, and catch our next video.